Long discussions.
Yeah, I hear you discuss something. All right, reports, presentations, personnel update. Brian.
Good afternoon. Does anyone need a copy? I have it here if anyone needs it. We just had a couple of promotions recently, so big promotions beginning of the month. Todd Bright promoted to Public Works Superintendent. Casey Bonney promoted to... Oh, yeah. Great. Oh, okay. Sorry, you got a paper copy. Yeah. Casey Ronnie promoted to a maintenance worker 3, and it should say wire department. Yeah, it's a Boston thing. We're interviewing for another maintenance worker 3 tomorrow.
Internal.
Yes, internal. We have a new chief. So other recruitment's happening right now. An internal permit coordinator is closing on October 20th. Everything else, we have 2 vacancies for police officer currently. Any questions on this?
Have you had any applications for the Rule 9 intern?
Oh, we actually do have someone, and we have I just have it on there just because they're coming in July. I guess a lot could happen. June, is it June or May?
He said May.
May, okay. So yeah, we do have someone actually lined up that we started the process on. When he comes in town, we'll be doing the rest of the background process. We have a retirement coming up too. Oh, thank you. Yes.
We have a police sergeant that's retiring at the end of this month as well.
Oh.
Is that going to be a 3rd position you need to?
Yeah.
Is he starting off with?
Just go for it.
You have a pool of recruits you can reach out to. Oh my.
All right, thank you.
Very good. Yeah.
Discussion action items. So discussion items, Public Services Department.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. In your packet, you have a couple org charts for your review. I'll go ahead and cut right to the chase on the memo. The short version is I'd like to take 2 existing positions and convert them to 2 different positions. I don't want to say one of them is new. One of them is would be the creation of a second position that we already have. So to explain, we'll start off with the first one, which is creating a new crew lead position for the facilities team. Currently, our facilities group, which is under Public Services in Public Works, is composed of 1 facilities maintenance worker 3 and 2 custodians. But as you can imagine, there is a lot of facilities-related items to be taken care of, and I'm not going to even pretend to say that we struggle to keep up. We're just not keeping up. And these being some of our most valuable assets in the city, we need to have some resources in order to make sure and take care of these things, keep all the various systems running. So one of the things that I'd like to do is add staff to that group. The only question is how do we do that without adding new staff? So we're trying to get creative here and find some solutions to a staffing issue that we have here. What I'd like to propose doing is taking the maintenance electrician position, which was Bill Strand's former position, which was paid out of various departments, including 20% of the general fund. I'd like to take that position, leave it vacant. It is at the same grade level as a crew lead position. The maintenance electrician and crew lead are both grade 17A. So in essence, what I'd be doing is leaving that one vacant. We create a facilities crew lead position, which would be funded out of the general fund. So it would create an impact to the general fund at approximately $76,000 per year. That accounts for the 20% that was already being charged there. Sorry, something didn't set at lunch. That accounts for the 20% that was already being paid by the general fund for the maintenance electrician position. But essentially what this would allow us to do is it would add an additional staff person to the facilities department, giving us 4 total, 2 of the maintenance worker class that would be available to work on more of the technical issues surrounding maintenance of our various facilities here at the city. The second position that I'd like to create is an additional code enforcement position. In order to do that, I would leave one of the permit technician positions vacant. Currently, the permitting division in public services, it's composed of 3 employees or 3 positions, the permit coordinator and 2 permit technician 1/2s. Of those 3, only 2 of those are currently filled. And looking at existing and what we anticipate the future workload will be from permitting here in the city, we are confident that the 2 positions that are currently filled will be adequate staffing to continue to handle permitting intake and application processing here at the city. So what I would like to be able to do is leave the second of the permit tech 1/2 positions vacant and create a second code enforcement officer. I believe you were at public safety for the quarterly. I forget who all was at the last public safety committee meeting, but there was an update from our code enforcement staff. It is quite busy. And again, it's one of those things where we clear out a certain number of cases and then we have that many plus 1 come in the door for more action. So there's a lot of work to be done in code enforcement. One of the things that I'm happy to say is that we have seen a pretty good increase in civil fines that are being paid. And we anticipate that of those incoming civil fines, some of that can be used to offset the difference in salary between the new code enforcement officer, which is a grade 15, and a permit tech 1-2, which I think on a permit tech 2 is permit tech 1 is a grade 11, permit tech 2 is a grade 13. So that delta in salary there between the 2 positions we think can be offset with incoming civil fine payments. That's what's being proposed. You'll see the 2 org charts in your packet. The first one just shows the 2 current vacant positions in blue, and then just shows the Public Services Department with the new positions shown. Other than that, if there's any questions, I'm happy to take those. If this is approved, this will be incorporated into the budget amendment that's moving forward.
So the maintenance electrician is not going to be a problem for you because he's always stability before.
It will be a lesser problem. I mean, that's kind of where we're at. And
He's always getting called someplace. So.
Exactly. When I sit down with Brian to work on the job description for that, I would anticipate that the facilities crew lead position will incorporate some of the electrical duties that were being done by our former maintenance electrician. There are, surprisingly enough, there's a lot of work that can be done there by the facilities crew lead that doesn't require a specific certification or licensing. So we believe we can offset some of that work that Bill was doing with this other position. However, we do anticipate that there will be a need to contract some electrical tasks out. But that's not so different than how we cope with some other things in the department. So it will be all right.
And I would just add, as Ryan said at the beginning, this isn't increasing the number of FTEs. So this is something that the Finance Committee is supportive of. We would amend the FTE table that's part of the biennial budget amendment. So the permit tech 1-2, which is currently at 2 FTEs, would drop down to 1. Code enforcement, which is at 1, would increase to 2. Maintenance or the electrician would drop down to 0, and crew leads would go from 5 to 6. So there's no net increase in FTE.
And that's really what we were going for here.
So is that removing a slot essentially?
Just on your so as part of the budget, you have a position authorization table.
Right.
So that's the number of positions. So the position would still stay there, just wouldn't be funded in 24.
Where's the additional code enforcement on the chart?
Right.
Oh, okay. Page 2.
What do you see as the biggest hurdle with this kind of reshuffle?
Honestly, I think the biggest hurdle is the perception of the impact of the general fund. Coming into this, I think that was the thing that I was frankly most concerned about. I know that general fund dollars are fairly competitive. I think that to counter that, I would suggest though that any one of these buildings that isn't properly maintained is going to have expenses far exceeding salary impact that will occur from this change. So that was frankly my biggest concern.
Yeah. Have anything?
That makes sense to both of you two. I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Department.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like you're the best person to make that decision, and without increasing the FTEs, obviously, yeah, it's your decision to make. So I'm good.
So both departments. Please can they both out there?
I won't ask the question, but you should probably have an answer.
Right.
So when this makes it to the council.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
You would have
that.
never saw that one coming.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
good to go. Move on to AB 23-119, biennial budget amendment. Guessing you're going to do this one?
John Modopich, your CPA, that's not really a CPA,
Uh-huh.
stepping in here. Partner in crime, Patty down there. Hopefully we can answer any questions you have. Before Sherry left on this unexpected leave of absence, sent out to the mayor and all the council members the biennial budget adjustment. I did not receive any questions back from any members of the council. There was a question about one of the attachments, but we didn't have any questions that came forward. So the three of you, that's the biennial budget process amendment before. As Sherry pointed out, it's expected that the general fund will exceed revenues by 6.26. $2.627 million. And with the proposed budget amendment, we would authorize spending $2.1 million out of the general fund ending balance. In the attack exhibit B, with this proposed mid-biennial budget amendment, that would leave us projected at the end of 2024 with still a $15.611 million ending fund balance in the general fund, again at the end of 2024. In addition to the couple FTE shuffles we just talked about with Ryan's proposal, we took into account some of the previous approvals from the council. So we're taking away one of the recreation coordinators with the downsizing of the program. We've added one limited term court case manager and the two public works limited term parks employees. We also noted that what's in your packet, we failed to take away the before and after site directors under the executive department, so that those 6.8 FTEs would go away since they're no longer with us. We would update the FTE chart accordingly and put it in the packet that we go forward on. Public hearing on the 14th, excuse me, November 21st for the workshop, and then hopeful adoption on November 28th.
And I did ask Sherry about the 200,000 under the legislative, and she said that was just a placeholder that would get filtered down to where it may need to go for the general fund negotiations.
Yes.
Yeah. So what the hell, the mayor spending $200,000 on? But
Yeah, that was this go around, and we have all four of our bargaining units. They're up for renegotiation this year to help us with all four of those.
so the budget summary says 2.6 million, and the budget amendment with authorized spending at 2.1. Where's that extra $500,000 coming from?
That is in your capital funds. So on the next page, page 19, Park CIP, Public Services CIP, General Government CIP. So that 2.1 is just out of general.
Oh, okay.
The remaining $500,000 is your capital improvement funds.
Okay.
Getting a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Well done, Jack.
Good job.
Good job.
So we'll package this all, we'll amend the FTE chart, and then the hearing will be on the 14th.
Sounds like a plan. All right, thank you. We'll move on to open committee discussion.
Well, I want to talk about city attorney in the future
That's a great conversation.
because I pushed so hard for us not to have an in-house attorney save us money, and it's just gone the other direction. And since she did a good job, but she's expensive, at some point we need to make a decision that we're going to move forward because the way things are going with all of our dollars, decision which way to go. Sooner if not later.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, the way it's gone, really need to look at, city attorney here all the time. Not gonna be here, but you have any?
I can text my mom now.
I know, right?
The obvious
Yeah,
right?
right.
And Jennifer and I have talked about that. I mean, there are ways, certainly there was some pent up demand as we're transitioning. Easily invest. There are things we can look at to try and reduce that impact. For instance, I mean, it's not a lot, but Kathleen wouldn't charge for travel, whereas now we're paying, $100 every time, Jennifer comes down here just in travel time alone. Certainly it's right for a broader discussion. As we talked about before, if we have an in-house attorney, we will not find a person all-encompassing that has the skill set for everything that we'll need. So even if we do have an in-house attorney, we are going to have, for instance, like relying on Summit Law for the personnel issue. Benefit of having a firm is the breadth of the firm. As a partner in the firm that specializes in police. Yeah, certainly council decision, but just things to consider.
She's done a great job. It hasn't been any issues at all. She's there. We need her. Just don't know if she's being called for more things and
and she and I have kind of batted things around. We could have department head approval before people call. And call the city attorney.
Well, and in the past, one is now I used to call. She wouldn't let me talk to her until we got Neil's approval. So, which is an issue. Hopefully, the rest of the staff.
And again, I know, particularly with code enforcement, we had quite the backlog. COVID, code enforcement wasn't prioritized. So there's quite a backlog there that she's just.
I guess it would be interesting to see a breakdown in the future of like what things she was working on that caused it to get to this level.
Yeah.
So we have an idea going forward, what's this going to look like in the future if things stay the same or if we have, similar issues or.
Yeah, so the monthly bill I get from her, I think there's maybe different project codes that she breaks things down in.
Yeah, if we could do that.
Yeah, some litigation that has probably eaten up some of her time too.
Should we participate in that?
Anything waiting?
I thought some contract stuff with Wisconsin, or not Wisconsin, but
Berkshire.
And then that other thing that we were the case law on it against us. Or the conversation that went back to Palermo and the water. Yeah, the water
utility
rate. Yeah.
As a read copy the expense report or review?
I mean, yeah, she drafted up a couple hours to draft up that access and use.
It'll be nice to see some back from you later on.
Yeah.
I'd rather stay with somebody outside if we can, but it doesn't make sense.
We want to do that in a certain, like next finance meeting or how soon do you think?
We have no. After that, 2 meetings in November and one?
Oh,
at the end of the year.
Yeah. We can. I mean, something. It's not immediate. There's nothing we're.
Yeah, we also have a council retreat coming up in March.
Yeah. That would be good, I think, for the retreat, actually.
Because part of this mid-biennial budget amendment does take into account the current city attorney cost trends and get us through 24.
Yeah. I think the retreat
Sounds good to me.
let's do that.
You and I would remind Sadie to put that on the list. Well, I don't know who's got an elected deputy mayor come January.
Right? Yeah, I know. They're going to do something different. We get it on the list now.
There we go.
I'll change it.
Great. Okay. Anything else? Any other open
That's all I
discussion? Justin, you got anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
don't have any public comments, I don't think, so I think we're good, we're adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Ryan.
Mm-hmm.